what I always tell all of our new hires is the first 6 months, it's like drinking from a fire hose. You're going to learn so much information and you're going to put in a lot of hours because it's going to take you a lot of time to kind of figure things out.
Thank you so much for your time today. Would you please tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. First of all, thank you, Young, for having me. I'm very happy to be here. My name is Trenton. I'm a senior account manager at Amazon for the SAS program, which is Strategic Account Services. I've been at Amazon about 2.5 years. And when I first started at SAS, we were very much in a startup mode. The program was only around for less than a year. Prior to working at Amazon, I spent 5 years at Family Dollar in North Carolina. For them, I did everything from visual merchandising to space planning analyst to associate buyer for pet. And then prior to there, I was with Spartan Nash in Michigan for 5 years. And I worked in the store for a good portion of that time, becoming an assistant store director. And then I moved to corporate and was an assistant category manager.
Gotcha. So you were in retail for a long time, even before joining Amazon.
Yeah, I've been in retail about a total of 12 years now.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's a long time. So what triggered, or why did you, it's not an interview, but like, why Amazon? Why did you choose Amazon?
Yeah, so I mean, being in brick and mortar, like having that experience is great. Once you become a buyer, you can go anywhere and you can buy anything because really the concept is the same. It's reviewing items, looking at forecasting, determining what's going to sell, how well it's going to sell, can you hit your numbers? That doesn't change from company to company. Really coming to Amazon, I was looking for that e-commerce experience. When you work in brick and mortar, it takes months to make a change on price for customers to purchase. But when you work in e-commerce, that price can change in minutes and seconds. Just the speed of way things move is so drastically different. That's why I really wanted to come to Amazon.
Gotcha.
Also, it's Amazon. It's one of the biggest companies.
Yeah.
You put that on your resume and it's going to take you places.
So true. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about like how you got into Amazon. Did you have a referral? Did you have what was the interview process look like? Or were you poached from someone on LinkedIn? Like, how did that process look like?
Yeah, so after being with Family Dollar for a while, I was looking to branch out, and I opened my LinkedIn account for other opportunities. And a recruiter reached out to me and said, "Hey, I have this opportunity for you at Amazon. I think you would be a good fit. Would you be interested in talking?" So I had an initial initial kind of phone call with her. And she explained that this is a new startup position. They're looking for people with your kind of experience. And from there, we kind of, I applied for the position. I think working with her helped a lot because she works directly with the recruiters at Amazon, and she could kind of push things along a little quicker. So I applied. I had an initial phone screening where they kind of ask you a couple questions about leadership principles. It's basically a mini interview. I guess backing up a little, when I did apply, I did have to take 2 assessments. I took a behavioral assessment where they kind of ask you, strongly agree to strongly disagree questions.
Yeah.
And then I also took an analytical assessment where they gave you a couple charts and you had to kind of make quick judgment calls based on specific questions, things like a credit card interest rate or accounting practices. Those were the 2 assessments that I had to take. So getting through the assessments and getting that kind of incline, I then had the phone screening interview. And that was, I think, about a 40-minute call where they asked me a few questions about some leadership principles. After that, I moved to an in-person interview where I came out to Seattle, and it was nice. They flew me out here for a couple days. So not only could I interview, I could check out the city. My interview was a Friday morning, 4 hours with 4 different people. Each one's very intense as they ask you multiple questions about leadership principles and using that STAR kind of interviewing option.
Yeah. Okay. So they had assessment. And was that experience similar across your peers as well?
Yes, I believe for all account managers, L4 and L5, I believe you have to take some sort of assessment before you're even screened for a phone interview.
Gotcha. Interesting. Hmm. Okay. Would you tell me a little bit about what you do as a senior account manager?
Yeah, so for a senior account manager in the SAS program, I am the number one point of contact for a large brand. Because I'm a senior level, I get to work with some of the top brands, and mine happens to be one of the biggest in consumer electronics.
Hmm.
With that comes a lot of visibility and a lot of responsibility.
Hmm.
But as a senior account manager, I basically handle all questions, issues that the vendor has. They come directly to me. Whether it's about marketing, whether it's about pricing or an issue on the detail page, I have to handle that. And it's either finding a point of contact to help resolve that issue or
Hmm.
knowing how to do it myself. Additionally, I handle things like working with in stock on forecasting, promotional levels. I also do a lot of mentoring and training other account managers to bring them
Hmm.
up to speed to make them successful. So those are kind of the high level things that I do as a senior account manager.
Gotcha. That's interesting. So you were in retail before, but I would assume that you had some learning curves when you joined Amazon. What were those learning curves, and then how did you, overcome those? Like, were there training materials, or like how did you overcome those?
Yeah, so at Amazon, there is a steep learning curve, even with my retail background. And a lot of that was around, one, we use a lot of tools and a lot of platforms. So you really have to take good notes in your training classes. You really have to kind of take it upon yourself to learn the tools and use repetition to really grasp them. Also, you have to really learn how to work on your own because when I first started, nobody was really coming up to me and asking me like, how are you doing? Are you getting all this information? You really have to seek out people if you need additional training, if you want shadowing experience.
Hmm.
At Amazon, it's a very high caliber of employee, so they expect you to take those steps on your own. Um, Lastly, I think just learning and being curious, it's an LP of Amazon, and I think they
Hmm.
really rely on that here because in my position, you are required to go find those points of contact, and nobody's going to just tell you where they are. So, you have to use your resources and go find people that are going to help you solve issues.
Gotcha. So this is an interesting question. So, like, what is one experience from early in your life that helped you build an unexpected skill that you use today?
Um,
It doesn't really have to be in your career. It could be in a part-time job when you were back in middle school, or back in high school, or anything.
Yeah, I think, maybe not necessarily an experience, but something that I've learned early in my career was negotiating. And, I think
Mm,
people are very scared to negotiate because when you say negotiating, they think of like hard-nosed negotiating where you keep fighting to get what you want and you don't accept no. But really, the negotiation tactics I was taught was, you can use negotiating in everyday life and you can accept no. It's not just about settling on a number, it's about, coming to a compromise. And with the people I've worked with, we were taught you always ask for more, you always ask for something different. It's, trying to reach that next level where they're going to compromise and give in a little so you both win. And I think that's been a big experience or something that I've really relied on um, because, as I've gone up for promotions, as I've rotated to new positions, new companies, nobody's going to give you more money just because they're hiring you. You have to ask for, that additional amount. But even, simple things like rent. With COVID going on, people are moving out of Seattle. I took that opportunity and was like, hey, how about, we lower the rent a little bit in a simple email. It's not very confrontational. I'm just asking a question. If they said no, I'm still going to pay my rent. But if they say yes, I save a little money. So I think
yeah,
negotiating is a great tactic for everybody to kind of pick up.
that's great. And where would you say that experience comes from in your early days in your like career at the Spartan stores or Family Dollar? Sorry.
No, I mean, I think it really started kind of working at Spartan Nash was when I was an assistant category manager.
Hmm.
So just kind of working with vendors,
Gotcha.
they want something and you want something. So it's that compromising and, it's
Gotcha.
not being hard nosed, but it's that small negotiations that you do daily that kind of
Gotcha.
just build up.
Gotcha. Makes sense. What do you like most about your job, and maybe what do you like least about your role?
That's a good question. You know, um, I really enjoy mentoring and onboarding, training people. That's something I really seek out. Whenever we get new hires in my role, I like to
Hmm.
help them out and teach them and share my background because I do have a lot of experience. But even, the vendor managers that we work with, they don't necessarily receive the same training that AMs receive. So I like to share with them the tools and the experience as well. So that's probably what I really enjoy most about being in my role.
Hmm.
Least amount of enjoyment is probably around, some of the daily tasks that we have to do that are kind of, you know, they should be automated, I guess, is an easy way to say it. But
Yeah.
there's some things that you have to do manually that,
Yeah.
eat up into your time.
Yeah. Makes total sense. Um, I mean, Amazon is probably well known for, working long hours and stuff. But would you be able to share like your experience of working in Amazon and like the culture and the work-life balance, maybe, especially during, the whole work from home situation that we're in now?
Yeah, work from home has definitely made it a little harder because it's so easy just to work long days, long hours with your computer there all the time. It's, really easy to get trapped in that kind of
Yeah.
bubble. But, what I always tell all of our new hires is the first 6 months, it's like drinking from a fire hose. You're going to learn so much information and you're going to put in a lot of hours because it's going to take you a lot of time to kind of figure things out.
Hmm.
When I first started, I was working a lot of, I was working north of probably 60 hours a week. But as I got better and I started setting boundaries for myself, I was able to get that down to a comfortable 45, 50 hours a week. Now I'm really strict about my work schedule. I like to work, 8 to 5, even at home. And when I'm in the office, I try to do the same. Of
Hmm.
course, there are weeks where I will work 8 to 5, take an hour for dinner, and then come back to work and, work a couple more hours.
Yeah.
But my org is really good about setting boundaries for yourself. And
Hmm.
if you need time away, you can take that. We have people that will support you and help you out. If you're
Hmm.
feeling overwhelmed, speak up because nobody should ever suffer alone. We definitely like to help our teammates out. So the work-life balance in SAS, I feel, is very good because you have the opportunity to take on more work if you want it. But if you want to work, 45 hours and handle your vendors, they're very open to that as well.
Gotcha. My last question is advice for those who want to join Amazon and or break into retail.
Yeah, I mean, breaking into Amazon, I think you really have to determine, are you looking for the right company or are you looking for the right position? Um, One great thing about Amazon is that there's positions all over the world in all different organizations. And getting your foot in the door, I think, is a great opportunity because while the role may not be what you exactly want to do now, Amazon's very open to you finding your passion and they will endorse you and they will encourage you to find a role that is your passion. So I would highly recommend people to, you know, find a role they're interested in, apply, and even, if it's a role you're not 100% passionate about, you can always come here and then move. It's
Hmm.
encouraged to rotate and find different things.
Hmm.
Um, but I would encourage you to do your research and really stick by that STAR interviewing process. You
Hmm.
know, I sit in a lot of interviews now, and that STAR is really how we gauge um, interviewees. We want to
Yeah.
see your past performance because we're going to really use that to kind of judge your future success here.
What about getting your foot into retail?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities out there, whether it's at Amazon or another, brick and mortar store, e-commerce store. Um, if you really want to get into retail, I think, something like vendor manager Even like merchandising assistants in some companies are great opportunities to learn the basic. You're going to learn things about assortment, forecasting, retail math is,
Hmm.
a definite plus if you understand kind of that margin aspect and
Hmm.
how we price items.
Hmm.
I would definitely recommend people look into those.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that was it for today. Thank you, Trenton, for your time. And I think everyone who's interested in account management or in Amazon will be very highly appreciative. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Young. I appreciate you.